Hello, World Civ 107. Welcome to Spring 2020. I'm still is weird to me to think that we're going into 2020. And of course, it's going to be a very exciting election year where everybody will get along just perfectly, right? Well, whatever the case is, we'll try to make this class as productive as possible, and we'll all be just one big happy family, all right? So, I just want to give you a few things to say about what to expect for this classroom. There's one little glitch that I'm dealing with. I used the Connections textbook for years. I mean, sliding into almost a decade, strangely enough. The book that I've been using is basically no longer accessible. And I have been frustrated with the way the textbook industry has been running, in which that they're wanting us to buy all of these programs. I mean, at one time I even used like the My History Lab, which I found actually not to be that helpful. And then Revel is now the other thing that they were trying to push. And I just don't want them. And what's ended up happening is that if I just want to get you a textbook, this is now like a trickier thing, oddly enough, right? To just get a textbook for my history classes. So I posted in the announcement above this video the exact textbook that is ordered that Pirates bookstore will have. If you order online anything similar to that, that should be fine. Here's my difficulty. I don't even have that particular textbook yet, okay? I ordered several textbooks online, so I had to pay for the book also just to use that one because it's not, yeah, I didn't get a free copy. And the content is all things that I'm familiar with, but I'm still needing to try to make the content of the textbook fit what I have scheduled in our modules, which I had set up for normally for my 107. So that is something that I'm hoping that I can have ready like real quick, okay? If not, we'll deal with that later because it's not ideal, but we can fish around the textbook to find the content that's relevant to what we cover. It might sound like at this point I don't have this class really together. No, I actually do. It's just that part's annoying, but trust me, we'll work it all out. My classes are very straightforward. I normally teach this class in a summer class, which is condensed. And that's always a little bit frustrating, to be honest, because I feel like that 107 is so important and gives so much information that explains just about every conflict and big issue going on in the world now. And when I have to cram it several chapters into 1 week, that's just so much for a student to take in. So I'm happy that this is really the first time, gosh, in years that I've been able to teach 107 not in a cram course setting, okay? So we can really hash out what's going on. So this is World Civ. If you have, if you were in my 106 class, you'll know that I focused on world religion. In this class, I focus on colonization, decolonization, and many other things that go on in the world that are, like as I was mentioning earlier, really help explain the world that we have now. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to do a whole section on the Israel-Palestine conflict. And I think that I do a very good job of being nuanced. And when I say nuanced, meaning I have strong opinions about this. This was my expertise when I was going to doing undergrad work and even grad school work. But I feel like I can show you how both sides of articulate the arguments utilizing the history that we have available to understand the roots of the conflict. And most students that I've had that actually take interest in the subject are appreciative of how we cover that. So that means I will also be covering the broader Middle East. So I did Asia and the Islamic world as my focus when I was an undergrad at UC Santa Cruz. And when I say Islamic world, you're going to realize the Islamic world isn't just about Islam. We're talking about Muslim majority countries and the histories and the time periods that we covered. So this will be good. We'll talk a lot about the CIA in Latin America and the role that they've played there. And some of the way that people justify it or have criticized that. We'll be covering the war that George Bush Jr. built up to going into Iraq and the results of that. These are all issues that are also divisive for a lot of Americans in terms of their politics and their points of view. What I'm hoping that this class does, and I think I've been very successful at this, is that whatever your politics are, you will come away from the information here as an informed person. And when you deal with these topics that are brought up on our very poor quality news channels such as CNN and Fox News and MSNBC, and they are very poor. I will out myself as saying that they are very poor, and you're going to see why. When you take my class, I will just challenge you to watch a mainstream media news network and see how well they're doing at explaining all of these things that really didn't take that much time to get into to try to understand. Okay, I'll give you an example. The former lead singer of the rock band Kiss, I've seen on as discussed as an expert on the Israel-Palestine conflict. I've watched Fox News bring on the main guy of the Duck Dynasty to talk about his thoughts about ISIS in Iraq. I don't understand. I mean, America, we have a lot of very high quality scholars and researchers on all these topics that are conservative if you want a conservative scholar, and they can be more to the left if you want that, and somewhere in between that are all high quality that can tell you. But instead, this is the kind of stuff that I see on the media. And in fact, also, I'm trying to talk about how the fact that I'm not a neutral person, but I can teach things in a more nuanced way. But often I see on the news, they bring experts that are really just pundits or advocates for a particular view on that topic. And it's in a way that's not always clear to the viewer. I've listened to AM radio in the past and heard all the stuff that's spewed on there. Also uninformative information most of the time. And I watch a lot of vlogs, and I watch very far to the left and far to the right vlogs to try to understand what people are digesting. So, as a person aware of all this, I'm kind of trying to help be an antidote to bring to ground you all in what consensus views, understandings that historians have about a lot of the events that we're going to cover, okay? So, I look forward to that. I want you to keep in mind that I understand all of you who are struggling as single parents or what have you. I was a single parent for many years here while I was teaching online. And I've also had to have two jobs. I have two jobs as well, because this is America in this current state where many of us are not able to just survive on one job. So I work at a consignment shop for my other job, okay? And then I teach 3 online classes. What this means is I understand how difficult it is to juggle time. What I want you to do is if you have an issue getting in work late, especially when it's dealing with family issues, children, unexpected events, sickness. Some of you are in the military. Some of you I've had students that are firefighters, and every form of service you call 911 for, right? Okay. when you're having something like that, I'm going to be responsive to trying to help work with you, especially under so many extreme situations. Sometimes it might even be that just someone broke up with you when your heart broke for a moment. You got to communicate with me though. Late work will not just be accepted just casually. You have to communicate with me. And I just want to make this clear because of the fact that this has been a problem that I was having last semester. If I let you turn in some late work, you can't do that chronically. And I'm going to speak more to that a little bit later on, or early on in the semester. That means if you're working a lot and you're taking this class thinking that you can do it if you turn in everything late every week, that's not acceptable. It's not going to fly. And I'm going to be much more harder about that because no university is going to accept that. Most professors will not even take day late work. And it's not right of me to try to not prepare you properly for the university setting. Okay? Here you're having just transferring from Modesto Junior College. So again, I'm sympathetic towards anything that's coming up, but those kind of help that you may need should be the exception, not the rule. If you have any questions about that, and if you have something you want to bring up to me, like I had a student that's a fireman and often had many unexpected things, and with fires that were taking place, they obviously have a very clear-cut set of issues that are going to make the semester a little bit more rocky, and so we can work that out. So communicate with me. This is the thing. I have my phone number. You can text me. I normally don't offer my phone numbers for students to text, but I live in Portland, Oregon, and I teach online, and I have 2 jobs. So this makes me more acceptable. So this is professionally appropriate under this setting, right? But let's keep it for 9 to 5 schedule. You can text me or call me between 9 to 5, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Okay? And you can write to me on Canvas at any time. Anytime. And so that's also where I prefer for you to write me, okay, is directly into Canvas, because it'll tell me which class you're in, and that's helpful. Later, I'm going to publish, I'm going to put on an announcement of a discussion about plagiarism. I've had such a problem with this that I'm really going to crack down, and I'm going to really make certain things clear about that topic, okay? Now, last few thoughts before I end on this announcement is because I was a single father for many years, I focused on just raising my daughter. And she moved out, and she's now going to community college here in Portland. I sold almost all of my stuff last year, and then I traveled the world, and I didn't know how long I was going to last, and I was basically exactly a little bit over a year, and I still taught online. So I went to 10 countries, and mainly why I went to so many is I discovered that even while you can enjoy being in one location, immigration rules are everywhere, and you'll get deported or in big trouble. So I ended up just having to bounce around, and that's what ended up happening. But in the middle of all of that, I spent about almost 3 months in Europe. Mainly, I was about 2 months in Leiden, Netherlands, and then Thailand was my base. I stayed about 2 months in Cambodia and Siem Reap, and then I went to my daughter's grandfather's village in the Philippines, and I was in Hong Kong about a total of 3 months. 2 of the months before all the big demonstrations taking place, and then a month in the middle of it. I haven't yet created a module yet for dealing with some of these topics, but I'm going to try to, especially with Hong Kong, and especially because I was there, and that left a huge imprint on my brain, to say the least. And so if you don't know anything about what's going on in Hong Kong right now, you can look that up right now, and then we'll get to that. But the history that we covered definitely explains the background to the drama in Hong Kong in a way that when I was in Hong Kong, I met even many Hong Kongers that didn't have this understanding about the full history and the background between that basically makes things the way that they are in Hong Kong. Um, so yeah, I will be discussing that as well, and I will be also discussing the way that the mainland Chinese government its position on it. So you'll be hearing. So my whole role is always to, regardless of what I think, is to get you an understanding about how the various groups of people in the world view particular conflicts and events. Okay, as opposed to me promoting a particular one, even though I have views about particular points of view. I don't need to keep going over that. So that's all I'll say for now. If there's anything else, again, please hit me up. I hope you had a great holiday season. I hope you have a very safe New Year. As I said in my other classes, please do not drink and drive. That's I've lost friends to that. I have friends who are permanently injured to that. I've had friends get DUIs and have their lives get really complicated because of that. Just don't do it. And, oh yeah, the last thing to say, I will be putting out the syllabus as soon as I can, and I will be adding more to this class. For now, I can only make an announcement with what I have prepared, and we'll be in touch very soon. Yeah, that's all I have to say.